Hi, everybody. Today we're going to talk about chapter 2 of our textbook, Building Your Confidence as a Speaker. This chapter still belongs in the first part of the textbook, which is referring to the foundations of public speaking. So it means that for now we're going to discuss theory, and then in the second part, it will be the practice. So let's just start with just a few words about building your confidence as a speaker. So this course is actually offering you a lot of good information, a lot of good knowledge, but as we know, nothing is for free. And it means that we will be promising a few things. First of all, from the first chapter, we know that we will promise to act ethically. Our behavior will be thoughtful, responsible. Everything will be well researched, and we will deeply think about the consequences of our actions, specifically of our speeches. Now, let's talk about building your confidence. Is this course going to help you build confidence as a speaker? Yes, absolutely. Is it going to cure you from the fear of public speaking? Unfortunately, no. These were some of the takeaways from the chapter, very briefly speaking. But although there is no absolute cure for public speaking anxiety or apprehension, there is a method. There are several steps you can take to deal with it on your own and reduce it as much as possible. First of all, let's just assume that it's not necessarily a bad thing. It is anticipatory anxiety. Before the speech, you feel your heartbeat faster. It is presentation anxiety. You will feel anxious before presenting your speech to the public. Are these things necessarily bad? No. We even hear from artists like Beyonce, who has said that anxiety is not necessarily a detriment, but it can be channeled into your performance, because guess what? If you're anxious about something, it means you care. And if you care, you're going to be extremely careful about your performance. So without being afraid of it, can we expect our performance in any genre to be perfect? No. But that's why we're human. Human beings are imperfect. But does it mean we have to quit trying? Absolutely not. The more we practice, the more we learn, the better we will become. There will be words that we will forget. Inevitably, some parts of your speech will be missed. Some words may be mispronounced or confused. There would be awkward moments. There might be a couple of laughs, but being able to overcome those little hurdles and make that personable, make that more humane, that's the strength of good public speaking. So let's look at some of the contributing factors for communication anxiety, as it's called in the chapter. It is, first of all, an unfamiliar place where you're speaking. It may be a place where you're not used to the microphone or the podium. So going there, trying to stand where you're going to stand, well, in your case, it's not even a classroom. It may well be your phone or your computer. But in real life, when you're making a toast, the best thing is to be familiar with the environment. If you can, go and practice and try all the technology, try everything, the sound setting. If you can't, practice in front of a mirror, practice in front of a camera. The second contributing factor to communication anxiety is the occasion itself. It could be a very important occasion. A lot of things may be at stake. At some point, you will be competing for a job, competing for a project, competing for funding. And of course, the importance adds nervousness, adds anxiety to any occasion. But again, preparation is key. So don't listen to people who say you've got to stop practicing, you've got to stop studying, just get some sleep and everything will be fine. Getting some sleep really does help. But if it's really a big deal, if that performance, your presentation, your speech is really that important, more practice, more preparation, more research, understanding the question better, becoming more familiar, becoming more fluent with the material, those are things that will guarantee, if not absolute, but near perfect performance, success. So there are some internal factors with people, with humans, because we're all human again. Those are perfectionism, misconceptions about the audience, and of course self-sabotage, good old self-sabotage. Perfectionism is an idea that you have to make everything perfect. That is a disorder. Striving for excellence motivates you. Striving for perfection is demoralizing. These are the words of Harriet Breaker, an expert on stress management. So striving for perfection actually works against you. And the perfect speech is like a perfect game of golf. Of course, I have to confess I've never even understood what golf means. But according to the author, it's impossible to complete in 18 strokes, but you can keep trying and learning in the process. So it is a process. You keep trying and perfecting yourself, but never hoping to get that perfection, because it is a disorder. You will never see perfection anywhere in your life. If you're not making mistakes, you're not human. And that is from a legendary basketball coach named John Wooden, who says, again, if you're not making mistakes, then you're not doing anything. I'm positive that a doer makes mistakes. So these direct quotes are here to inspire you to embrace your humanity, to embrace your little imperfections, and to strive for confidence, to strive for knowledge, to strive for preparation, strength, and not to listen to other advice, again, such as stop practicing, stop preparing, rest. Well, resting is going to be important. But here's another thing, misconceptions about the audience. If you think that the audience is going to judge you, you're really, really wrong. There is the illusion of transparency. People are thinking that when they make a speech or when they perform, the audience sees through them. They see their internal state, their heartbeat, their nervousness, their sweaty palms. Never, ever has an audience member come up to a speaker and say, you were shaking, or your heart was beating, or you were really nervous, weren't you? No, nobody sees that. So if you're going to sweat, be prepared and wear something that's lighter, that's easier on you. Don't confine yourself to clothes that are uncomfortable, too hot, or too tight. And try, to move, like make gestures that help you focus your energy in positive ways. Make sure that you can move freely in your attire. But again, the key is being prepared. Self-sabotage is the last one. Just don't do it. Okay, self-sabotage is related to fear. You're going to stop yourself from succeeding. So life is not like movies, and the best way to stop sabotaging yourself is, again, rely on knowledge, and never ever, never ever assume that other people are going to judge you. Don't create monsters, don't create zombies on your own against yourself. If you're thinking that your presentation is boring, try to make it fun. If you think it's too long, make it shorter. If the words are hard to read, make them shorter, easier, practice. But please do not jeopardize your own speech, because you can be your own worst enemy. So these are some of the things that we can keep in mind in order to understand communication apprehension. There are ways of managing that apprehension. And again, some techniques, some steps you can take. First of all, there are the don'ts, what not to do, not to think that the audience is going to judge you, that the audience is after you. And don't listen to dumb advice that tells you to picture everyone naked, because that's really never ever a comfortable thing. But what you can imagine, you can understand the audience better, because these are also people and they bring their own concerns, their own fatigue or illness, or their own anxieties. Perhaps they have to speak after you and they're nervous. So don't assume that they're frowning at you or not listening to you. If they appear unattentive or distracted, don't beat yourself up. It's not you. Just try to make your presentation as interesting, as compact, as powerful as possible, and don't worry too much about the rest of it. So one step to take is to develop a communication orientation. Don't think that you're going to mess up. Think that you are going to communicate with people. In other words, instead of focusing on I, focus on we. Put yourself in the same group as the audience. And usually that happens very well. That happens very frequently at a conference where, intentionally, the groups are divided up in smaller chunks, and in every room with a presenter, there is a panel of 2-3 people, respondents, other presenters, but there is also an audience of perhaps 10 to 15 people, quite manageable. And some of them will also be speaking, part of them will also be panel members. And focus on the we, focus on the group aspect of the audience. And remember that you are part of that audience. You're part of that group. So communication orientation helps you move from this solo performance to something that's done as a group, as a community. It's not an accident that the words community and communication have the same root, have the same core. Cognitive restructuring, it's harnessing the power of positive thinking over negative thinking. So think about good things. Don't think that you're going to embarrass yourself. Don't think that your mind is going to go blank. Think about good things, and imagine the audience. What are they going to learn from you? What are they going to respond to you? How do you want to get their feedback? You really do need their feedback. Think positively. And there are some steps, again, to relax, selective relaxation. You can do these exercises. I'm not going to go over that because I think we're running out of time for the 15-minute portion of each lecture. That's the limit of our technology. But I suggest that you read from this chapter about some techniques and maybe do some exercises about relaxing selectively, some of your muscles, some of your mind, parts of your mind. Education, preparation, and practice. Always being prepared is the best thing. And finally, on a final note, what's the worst thing that can happen? The chapter offers making a list as a method of coping with anxiety. Make a list of what can go wrong and just write down what if. What if I forget? What if I mess up? What if people hate it? So, what if I start shaking? And then what? It's not the end of the world. It's really not. So, please read this chapter very carefully. If you have communication apprehension, if you feel anxious about performance, please talk to me. I'm here for you, and we will see each other soon. We'll talk soon again. Bye bye.